Good morning. Welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast for June 23rd, 2018.
Today on the newscast, we're talking Fox, Disney, Comcast.
Star Wars movies on hold.
Pokemon Go updates.
And Roseanne spinoff. We'll let you know what's going on with that.
Tune in and stay tuned and all that for more. Hello and welcome everybody to the Barrel Roll Newscast, where we talk about game and movie news from the past week or so, depending on how long it's been since we've been here.
Give or take.
Yep.
Welcome. My name's Tony.
I'm Nick.
Chris.
I'm Brian.
You got it all right. You got it right.
I almost forgot.
What your name was?
What order? I do that frequently, so it's not just you.
I am. Oh no.
I
don't know anymore.
That's why my name tag is upside down at work.
So you can look at it yourself.
Yes, welcome to the news, guys. Welcome,
yes.
Welcome. We got a. I think it's an action. I think it's a
a
pretty
lot
loaded.
kind of happened. I mean, bigger stuff. So
I think it's a pretty loaded week.
I mean, to get started, last week we didn't really talk about it because it didn't happen right away. So last week, what happened was Comcast put in a $65 billion cash bid to buy Fox.
Right, that's all cash, no stock.
All
nothing.
cash, no. Well, they don't have really any decent stock to give. So they put in $65 billion. They were like, "That's our next bid."
Yep, and so they brought it to Fox officially.
And Fox was like, "Okay," and Disney was like,
"They priced us right at them."
Yeah, but we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that their last Avengers movie made $2 billion all on its own
for the first weekend.
Well, no, after that wasn't
it?
They finally hit $2 billion.
That's still
they cracked like $1 billion in the first weekend. So no issue. It was getting that $2 billion mark. But the fact that one of their movies made $2 billion, it's like they've got some change to throw around.
And their shares, their stocks are probably going up, so they can just kind of.
So the one trick here was Comcast first said, "Oh, we've got $60 billion lined up," and then they came in at 65. So Disney was probably like, "Oh man, we have to find like another $500 million to get it to." Because they've offered, they came back and countered at $71.5 billion stock.
So that's like cash. 10%. That's a 10% increase from their original one.
The other piece too is Fox no longer, if they would have canceled on Disney, would have had to pay a fine to Disney for canceling. So there's no fine anymore.
Yeah.
And they're getting.
And on top of that, this deal has been in such a long process that Disney's already gone through a lot of the regulations and a lot of the regulatory stuff and the red tape.
So it'd be horrible for it to all fall apart for Comcast to then.
It's in Fox's interest to continue this current transaction because it's gonna, even though on a bad day, say they went and picked up the Comcast deal, they would have to start from square one with all those regulatory stuff. They just want to get this stuff done. They just want to get this deal through.
Yeah, for sure. So that's my big piece, I think, is it's more convenient for Fox at the same time. And people online are still very concerned with Disney owning so much, like 40% of the media if they buy Fox. And I'm sitting there going, 40, they're like, they have a monopoly, and it's like, a monopoly is 100%.
100%.
Sorry to burst bubbles,
they
but
don't even have a majority.
And on top of that, they're planning on selling a bunch of the stuff out anyways, like Sky and
some certain things.
So it's not,
and they're not buying certain things. Like everybody's like, well, there goes Fox News, and they're like, they're not allowed to buy Fox News. They already have ABC News. Like they were very cautious about.
I think Fox is keeping that.
Yeah, Fox
is technically keeping Fox News. Yeah, or of course, if Fox is selling off everything else, someone else will end up buying Fox News.
We can buy Fox News.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds like no one else wants it, right?
It's tarnished enough, right?
So that's the big piece is, Disney now owns it. But people online are still, well, they shouldn't be owning this much of our stuff and da-da-da-da-da. Someone goes, if they start making bad movies, stop going to see them, and someone else will take over. That's how business works.
Easier said than done.
But again, if you don't like the movies they're putting out and everybody goes like stops seeing them, Disney stocks fall, Disney goes out of business, and that's
stop going to the parks, don't buy their merchandise, don't go to the stores or anything like that. Like,
but as long as they're putting out good stuff, you know, I don't see the issue with
Disney on the lowest point is still better than most others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the big piece. Like, well, they're this huge conglomerate of company. They don't care about people. And they don't care about this. And they don't care about that. And it's like, guys,
have you seen Fox?
Right. Have you seen Comcast?
Have you seen Comcast? Have you seen Fox?
Like, that's the biggest piece. Is at this point you're going, yes, they're companies. They the guy at the top can't care about the guy selling ice cream cones at Disneyland. Yeah. That's not his concern.
It's not his responsibility.
He's hired people to care about that guy selling. Like, that's how these mega corporations have to function.
And kudos to Bob Iger in that regard.
Sure.
Because it's like he's so level-headed. It's like, yes, we want to do this because we need
streaming services.
Streaming services. Yeah. We want these rights.
The
like
properties
the consumers have spoken. Like this is what they want. Yeah. And I think he's very in tune with sort of that YouTube community, the social mentality of like, oh man, they're gonna get the mutants. They're gonna get the Fantastic Four. Like, that could be amazing. I think he's very well.
Well, but even moving forward with all of their stuff, he knows they have to spend money to make money. So if you look at the theme park aspect of everything, Bugs Life is coming out of Disney's California Adventure. Bugs Life, hate to break it to everybody, is a bajillion years old at this point, and no one cares anymore.
Sequel.
Which they're obviously not doing, or that land would be staying, because that land's going out and being replaced by Marvel's like Avengers land.
Yeah.
In Disney's California Adventure, right next to the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and the reason they can do that is because Universal only owns East Coast rights to those superheroes for their theme parks. So they can do West Coast superhero stuff. So we're going to get Spider-Man and the Avengers and that kind of stuff inside Disney's California Adventure. Yeah. But they know that A Bug's Life can't be there. That's not a cheap thing to do. Taking out an entire pie, like you're essentially cutting out a huge pie piece and stitching it and replacing it with an entirely new... Because it's not like they can take A Bug's Life and repaint things and be like, it's a whole, it's Avengers!
It's Ant-Man.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, that's it. Welcome to Ant-Man Park.
Actually, that might not be that bad.
They are taking one of the rides and moving it to Pixar Pier, which they've also unveiled. So again, they're spending a ton of money. So the California Screaming, which was the roller coaster that's there on the pier, is now the Incredicoaster. Good. So today is the official unveiling of Pixar Pier. So you can actually go on the Incredicoaster. So it starts off with the families being interviewed, going like, hi, like, how does it feel getting like a whole roller coaster named after you? And they're all like, oh, this is great. And then it shows Edna, the costume lady.
It's probably voiced by Brad Bird still.
And it is. And she's taking care of the baby. Like, she's babysitting while they're off doing whatever. And she's like, oh, the baby is fine. And there's actually Jack teleporting, like, all over the room that she's in. Like, she's an actual animatronic. But they've, through their Disney magic of putting screens on top of screens, make it look like Jack is actually in 3D and teleporting around her room. And she's like, oh, the baby is fine. And then you pass the room and she's like, oh, the baby escaped. And the whole ride is now, they've done some more coverings that stop the screams from echoing out of, like, the ride. Right. So they used to have those. They've now decorated the insides of them so that you actually see, like, lasers pewing off, and you pass Jack, like, shooting lasers out of his eyes. And then, like, Mrs. Incredible stretching to, like, Elastigirl is stretching to, like, grab him and missing, and then there's a part where Mr. Incredible's bashing through one of the things to like try and grab him, and it's like, they're theming this stuff, they're doing all this work, they're spending this money. So Bob Iger's like, if we have to spend $71.5 million to make the streaming service work and
to get these rights back,
and to do all these other things, like they bought a lot of stuff. National Geographic is part of that. And a big piece is those Disney nature movies.
Yeah, those animal...
And the thing is, like, Disney's not really going to go into that much debt either.
No.
Like, I actually saw a... not a spreadsheet, but it's like, if the Fox went with Comcast deal, Comcast would be like in 60-something...
They would be
60-something million in debt.
Yeah.
When Disney takes it, it's only like 16 million in debt.
Yeah.
And it's like, apples to oranges, like, Disney can spend more if they needed to.
Yeah. And again, Disney has that many more... like incoming kind of pieces. Like they've even made a deal with Nintendo at this point.
Yes, they have.
For some game show. No, Nintendo and Disney. There's some Switch game show coming to like Disney XD.
I can see that.
Video in Arcade
That's
Top
cool.
10. Video in Arcade Top 10. That's all I
remember that
wanted
show.
back.
Oh, that was a
That
good show.
will never probably.
I still never understood how that game worked. Or that whole show worked, because they like introduce a game and they're like, whoever
There's a
can
whole
get to like this many things, and you're like,
Yeah.
how are you keeping track? Like, is it essentially literally somewhere backstage going?
You know what? There probably was.
There must have been,
I can
was.
see that happening. Some like intern going like.
because there was
yeah,
4 people
yeah.
playing on 4 separate like Super Nintendos, and they had to play the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what score they were tracking through half those games. Like, they'd play a hockey game, and you're going, is it whoever gets the most goals? Whoever
gets the most wins.
Well, sure, but... And again, that's not really a fair competition, because what if your game, you end up, like, the other computer team goes off-site 800 times. You only
Yeah.
get 2 games in versus the guy whose AI is a bit,
It's
you know,
fine,
playing a bit
it's
better.
fine, it's
Yeah.
fine, it's
Well,
fine,
that's...
it's
I never
fine,
understood
it's
that
fine.
show. I loved watching it, but... Because it was, like, the best show for
It
me.
was.
Oh, yeah, this game's coming out, and you're like... Yeah! Now we have the internet, so I mean, it's not as...
Everyone's pixel perfect now. Everyone's
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
everyone's frames. That guy's using an emulator. Stupid Billy Mitchell. Stupid Billy Mitchell.
But yes, thankfully, I think I'm down. Like
I think it's-
again, I'm in the Mickey Mouse shirt, but I'm
You're
down
drinking,
with.
you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
I've been
pretty
drinking the Kool-Aid forever, so my house is doused in the Kool-Aid. But
hard. You are Kool-Aid.
yeah, I am the Mickey Mouse.
You dish out the Kool-Aid.
I'm the Mickey Mouse fruit punch, really. But like, I'm down
But I
with the
think
mouse
I-
owning all of this stuff at
And-
this current time.
And honestly, the thing, if you think about how Disney's been working the last couple of years, Mickey Mouse has actually taken a bit of a step back. They've done those weird like French shorts where he's like in Paris and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
They've done a lot of those.
They've
There's
done
like
those,
60
but-
of those.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like Mickey Mouse on the big screen, they haven't really done that a lot.
No.
And his next big
No.
thing is really Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom
3,
Hearts, yeah.
which Disney or Mickey they've cemented that character into a weird situation.
But Mickey is all they need him for is the mascot. Like,
Yeah.
you go to the theme
He's
park
an
and
icon.
wait an hour to
exactly,
see a
they
guy
don't.
in
They
a
don't
costume.
even need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even need to do any of that marketing because everyone.
He's just such
Everybody
a
knows
big
Mickey.
icon.
Everyone knows Mickey. Everyone knows Minnie. Everyone knows Goofy.
Yeah.
Donald. Like
Now, and to be fair, like, and that's part of like my post-credit show stuff, but like DuckTales
Yeah.
has Donald in it, voiced by a guy who's been doing Donald for 800 years, and it like whoever's doing that DuckTales show, if they can get those guys to take on the rest of those properties that used to be like, you know, the Disney afternoon shows, holy God, we will have some good entertainment, because DuckTales is
I think you have
nailing
to,
it.
I think you have to also realize that kids don't watch TV shows on Sunday afternoon anymore. Saturday afternoon.
But that wasn't just Saturday; that was every afternoon.
No, is it? I don't.
Yeah.
I've never had Disney when I was a kid, so I don't.
With Mike Sobel. You
Mike
came home
Sobel,
and turned
yeah.
on the
Mike
TV,
Sobel.
and Mike Sobel was
Right.
like, "Hey guys, let's watch some, you know, Darkwing Duck," and you're
You're
like,
like,
"Yes!" And then he'd come back, show off some pictures that kids drew and sent in to
Yeah.
him. And then he's like, "And now it's time for Rescue Rangers."
Yeah!
And then he'd come back and do the same thing. And he's like, "And now it's time for Gargoyles." And you're like, "TV should never stop."
They had DuckTales too, and it was...
It
We
was
had
a perfect.
It was just
and then they
great.
replaced them every once in a while when they needed to be replaced. So Bonkers came out, like, of all
Oh,
of
yeah, I
that
remember
stuff. Like, we got
Bonkers.
so many good shows from all of that stuff. And then I look back at them now, like we were watching Tailspin the other day. That show could use an update, and not that it's bad, but that was a show that was done in the 90s by, let's face it, a company out of, you know, Asia somewhere who was copying pictures of Baloo and,
Yeah.
you know, King Louie and giving King Louie a Hawaiian shirt, and then someone adding voices to it and hoping to God it worked. And it did, but then you watch DuckTales, like the new one, and you're like, the animation is crisp, this is so nice, like,
Even the writing on it.
the writing is
the acting and
fantastic,
writing
and
is
again,
really
people
good.
give a crap, which is the other big piece. Like, they actually went forward with making Huey, Louie, and Dewey different, but enough so on episode 4 there's a new character that's like, oh, this is cute, with like the almost matching get-ups and the color coordination. Like, what are you, all the same duck? And all 3 of them respond at the exact same time, like, no, we're not. Hey, stop that. No, this isn't right. This never happens, as they're all saying it at the same time. And you're just like, this is good. And then
It's that self-deprecating humor.
it really is, but they know they can pull it off because kids can laugh at that joke because it's still funny, and adults are like, yeah, because they were the same duck forever and ever and ever. They actually have different personalities now because people actually know, hey, kids enjoy stories in cartoons.
They like depth.
Yeah, well, that's why Gargoyles was such a great show. Like, you watch the commentary on Gargoyles DVDs. And the creators are like, I don't know how we got away with doing the show that we got away with doing. It was dark. It was like the storylines were there. We had romances going on that you did not see in kids' cartoons.
But we all loved it. And
but you knew that like Goliath and Desdemona were totally getting it.
Oh yeah.
Like there was no even subtlety to the fact that she'd like show up and start brushing her finger against his like bare chest, and you're like,
PG-13.
Yeah. But again, that would be like, if you think about it, you're going, that's pretty adult for a kids' cartoon show.
Speaking of gargoyles, I think Disney did say they were never going to do a live action gargoyles.
Good. I don't mind. I don't need a live action.
I don't know that. I don't even know how that would even look.
I will take another cartoon show.
Yes.
Get those writers back and just keep trucking.
Disney XD is probably the right place for that.
It is.
I've been watching catching the Big Hero 6 stuff, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like Disney XD's really got that extra piece going on, and then Cloak and Dagger started on.
I hear so many good things about that.
Apparently,
like
really
those last two shows that were not on TV, really good.
They're really trying to sell it for like my wife's audience because it's on during all her shows.
Oh,
so we're sitting there watching the stuff she's recording, and all of a sudden it's like Cloak and Dagger, and I'm like, what? Even my wife's like,
the hell's that?
What is this? And then like Marvel, and she's like, so does this connect to all the other junk you've been making me watch?
In theory, yes.
And it's like, in theory, yeah, they are superheroes from that universe, but none of it's gonna.
Yeah, the chances of that happening would be eons from now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've been hearing really good things. So either way,
I need to catch up on Runaways. I need to watch that.
Yeah, so Disney is officially buying Fox unless Comcast comes back with a bigger.
Yes, that's the takeaway. Is like Comcast could, if they did, it'd be weird.
And again, we know that Comcast would be going into billions of dollars in debt for the $65 billion bid.
Yeah.
Never mind having to up 71.5. And remember, there's no taxes on stock, so that's another.
And another nice thing is that
Disney
went back on their $71.3 billion one and saying that they can split it between cash and stock.
Yeah, so they are. They're
so because before it was only stock.
Yeah.
Now they have given that flexibility to
the shareholders of Fox.
Shareholders of Fox, yes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they are postponing the July 10th vote. The shareholder vote?
I believe everything's still trucking forward because
I thought the July 10th vote was being pushed back a little bit.
It might be,
just to give Comcast that like room of like, if you're gonna do something.
Well, it's good for Fox if they do. Like it's a bidding war at this point, but Comcast is
the chances of it
clearly unmatched.
They're out of money, and Disney's just sitting there going, "Bring it." And like I said,
want to do this again?
And like I said, at this point,
the price was writing them.
But at this point, if Comcast does come back, Disney goes, take it. Let's watch you like flounder in debt,
and then we'll pick the parts.
We can wait 3 years for you to go out of business. It's cool.
Because the thing is, like, as soon as they go out of business, all those rights go back to the original.
They just default back, so Disney doesn't even have to buy back those, and then they can go, and we want this one, and this one, and this one. Like it's like a shopping spree at that point.
Yeah.
With no one to really pay.
Yeah.
Like they'll get them for dirt cheap. So at this point, Disney's just like, yeah. Bring it, bring it up to $75 billion, and we'll just, $1 billion, and we'll just watch you start like floundering.
I'm sure, they've got that. They've got it under lockdown.
Yeah, and then the cool part with Disney getting all this is they are getting a bunch of other properties. I mean, we've talked about that on the show
Simpsons.
for ages.
Simpsons, Alien,
Firefly goes back, like to which the Firefly community. As soon as this sale happened, everybody's like,
I hate to break it to you,
it's done.
It's not coming back.
The only thing we might get out of it is legitimately either comics or
which Dark Horse has been very good.
Yeah, or they do start like an extended universe type thing for Firefly and do like the Deep Space Nine version of Firefly. So same universe, different characters, or
another movie.
Or we get another movie.
That would be the only like realistic thing if they could do another Firefly movie, another Serenity. Well, I guess you can't use Serenity.
Can't use Serenity because Comcast owns that.
Yes.
But.
Yeah, rights are weird.
Rights are so dumb. But like even when I was looking at the rights for theme parks, and they're going, well, yeah, there's East Coast theme park rights and West Coast theme park rights, and I'm going, what? Like that makes no sense to me. Why are they split between coasts? You think that we have the the rights for the United States to have X, not like we have the rights on the eastern side of the United States to do.
It's because money.
It is.
Yeah.
But who signs that deal? Like, what kind of idiots? Like, we only want the Marvel superheroes on the East Coast.
Make you fly across for travel.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, but
Maybe.
They have a deal with airlines.
yeah. But guess what?
That's true.
I can now go down to L.A. to what's going to be the better theme park.
Just saying.
But now the East Coast residents will have to fly over west.
Well, that's
And
tough,
they won't because they have Disney World. So
tough shit.
either way,
Moving on. Slightly other Disney themed news. The Star Wars.
3 things on our thing are technically Disney.
Because they own everything now.
I wouldn't consider that last one Disney.
It is. It's ABC.
ABC, not Disney.
ABC.
Get that. But I don't. So the Star Wars movies.
Yes.
The Boba Fett movie that was in production.
And the Obi-Wan movie that was
rumored, but
rumored and apparently in pre-production.
That doesn't surprise me. Those are now officially on hold.
Yes.
Totally, and we can all
gauge
as to why that
due
happened.
to the low Han Solo
reception.
And box
Sales
office.
and
They lost money on Solo. A part of that was due to obviously directors filming almost an entire movie.
Yeah.
And then
2 different
having to bring in another director to fix all of those things. And again, luckily, they made sure that Ron Howard had the money he needed and all of that to actually make a good movie.
Yeah.
Because he reshot
a lot.
Most of that movie.
Enough.
But that brought the budget way, way up to the point where they've now lost money on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's
put on hold everything else, and I think it's just to make sure directors have instructions.
Yeah, because they don't have that
scripts are tight.
They need a Kevin Feige for the Star Wars.
Well, it's supposed to be Kathleen Kennedy.
So, she's not doing a great job.
No. Like you've heard on the news too, like there's this whole pledge going on.
Yes,
right
with
now
the Last Jedi.
And even Rian Johnson's on board.
No, he's not.
He released something that said, please.
It's called irony.
Irony.
It's called irony. He's very proud of his work, and I think he is, and he should be.
He should be. That was a good movie.
It was a fantastic film.
Yeah,
but that was totally his. Like,
it angered a lot of fans because of the whole canon story is now includes this, which is,
and that's fine.
that's
what movies are for. They're supposed to add
to the story,
not like carbon copy things.
Well, no, but they had another version like. They were saying George Lucas actually had a lot of good ideas.
No,
sure he did.
He did.
I read
some. Some of them were on a good path.
His sequels had to do with metachlorians, man.
As soon as
he said the word metachlorian, I'm out.
But that is so canon to like that. Well, I guess not anymore. But metachlorians are so important to the Star Wars.
No.
Yeah.
No, they literally said that word like twice.
Well, to like to the true Star Wars fans, like metachlorians are actually really important.
But to the original Star Wars fans, metachlorians are a piece of junk that should have never been written.
So is Jar Jar.
Because
Jar Jar's completely different.
If you go back to 4, 5, if you go,
I'm okay with these.
If you go back to 4, 5, and 6, anyone could be a Jedi. That was the whole point. The Force runs through everybody, and as long as you could get yourself in tune with it, you could become a Jedi.
And that was more solidified in this newer, like 4, 5, 6 wasn't exactly like anyone could be a Jedi. They did pick. Like Luke almost didn't become a Jedi.
I mean, you look at the last sequence with Leia in Episode 6, where she's like, "Oh, I just know he's okay." And blah, 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 blah. I'm like, and yes, as a viewer, yes, she's of the Skywalker lineage,
and that's the pieces like for again,
but even for her,
yeah,
like even though she hasn't trained in it.
The Force is still,
and
again,
but she had the lineage, and that's what they were wanting to go with originally.
Yeah, I don't care about lineage anymore. The Skywalkers are a pain in my ass.
Yeah,
because again, you watch the originals. Luke could have died, and I wouldn't have been sad. Anakin died, and I was not sad. Like, and that's what everybody points out as they go back to like episodes 1, 2, and 3, and they're like, "Man, Anakin's such a whiny," and then they go back to 4, 5, 6, and they're like. Oh, it's hereditary. Like, it's a genetic whining problem.
Yeah, so look at Kylo. Exactly. Case in point.
And there's your lineage, I think, carrying on to the new ones. And my funniest part to all the new movies for Star Wars is that J.J. Abrams did his, and people complained that it was too close to 4, like episode 4.
I'm fine with that.
So then Rian Johnson comes out and goes, "We're
Left
throwing
field.
it all away
Making our
and
own
making
thing.
our really own Star Wars movie." And people are
Leia-
like, "It is too different from Star Wars."
Leia can use the Force powers in space and bring herself back to...
That was a kick-ass scene.
That was so funny. It was cool.
But that's what I mean. Like,
That's so funny.
I came out of Star Wars The Last Jedi going, yeah.
I'm okay with that film. Like, it's super good.
It's
I'm good with it.
It's not like we came out of certain movies and go, that was decent, except this part, and this part, and this part, until you make it back to the car and go, you know what, that wasn't a good movie. Like, there's that 10-second talk, and you're like, nope, bad film.
In fact, like, it was the opposite with The Last Jedi.
I think so.
Because it's like you watch it initially, yes, there's that surprise factor of like, there's a lot of weird things happening in this movie, but then you really think about it. Oh, they needed to kill that character off for the future.
Yeah. I think my
And
only
then-
big gripe with Last Jedi was talking about how much gas they actually had left in the tank. Like, so many hours worth.
Mhm.
All they got to do is sit there going, we're running out of gas, we're going to
Yeah.
have to stop soon. Leave the time ambiguous enough that all this other stuff could kind of happen.
See, my problem was it was that giant, long, extended car chase sequence of firing a single laser when they could have just, like, flanked them. That was my only issue.
And again, yeah, that was...
Well-
and that could have been a writing piece, too, where that was just
It's
pride
a
and
torture
hubris.
It is.
It's a torture
Like,
scene.
oh, we've got them on the run. Like, they won't be able to survive our...
I get it. And
My problem was like Finn's storyline had absolutely no point to the main story.
yeah, the casino sequence was kind
Yeah,
of...
it was
fluff.
absolutely like
The casino sequence was... a
had no
little fluff.
purpose whatsoever.
It set up the little kid.
Oh, that's a long... That's a
That's a
long
lot of
walk.
setup for
That's
that
a
one
long
kid.
walk for a short drink of water.
And I mean, if we're really gonna get nitpicky, the creatures that she's all like, oh, the poor things. I think you go with like slave people and switch that weird racing thing to pod racing,
Oh my God, pod
Yeah.
racing.
and life
That
gets
would have
better
been the
for
right.
everybody.
That would have been the right.
And all these, and she's like, those poor kids, they're forcing them to pod race, and there's a bunch of kids just exploding all
Yeah.
over the place, and you're like, yeah, that is
Yeah, that's
tragic.
pretty
But
bad.
pod racing.
You guys, you're bringing a pod racing
And
back.
that one kid who's sweeping at the end with the whole Jedi powers is like the one that's all like, woo! And actually,
He's really
like,
in the stand, just
he's the-
controlling it.
He's the actual Anakin, because that's why Anakin was good at pod racing,
Why?
because
'Cause
He was in tune with
he
the
had
Force.
the Metachlorians and the Force.
What-
going
what's a
through him,
Metachlorian?
so-
He's in tune with the Force.
So I really think for Star Wars we have
Yeah,
to wait
they-
for Abrams to kind of get his
Yeah.
thing going, but honestly make Abrams in charge of all of these stories and making sure they all kind of intertwine and work and this and that. And again, make sure directors know what you're going
They're on
for.
the same. They're on the same room. Like you can't say or you can't imagine with Marvel. Kevin Feige has a meeting with, the Russo brothers with who's the guy doing Ant-Man?
Yes.
Yes.
Peter something.
Yeah.
Paul something I think is his name.
Yeah.
Like all those people with movies coming out.
They are all
They all know what's happening
well.
with their characters.
It's funny because Kevin Smith had the writers for Infinity War and the Captain America movies on his podcast.
By the way, those guys are amazing. Those writers, holy shit!
Yes.
Like unsung heroes.
Well,
Like,
so it's hilarious because they were on and they're like, so how does the whole writing process work? Because like you did very different Captain America movies, and they're like, well, for us when we started, it became like, well, we have to do you can't do a 10-minute vignette of Cap during World War II and then him in the real world. You have to ground him in that war movie. So they're like, war movie done. Then they're like, then he's a fish out of water. What's a good fish out of water thing? Take the Bourne movies. Take something like that. Like, take the spy thriller. Go with that. And they're like, the only problem is like all of a sudden Kevin opens the door while you're working on Cap 3 and he goes, Civil War, and just closes the door. And then you're in the middle of writing Civil War going, I think we've got a story. And Kevin opens the door again and just goes,
yeah.
and then closes the door.
So apparently that Spider-Man role was supposed to be Ant-Man's.
Yes. And
That
that's
was-
what
that
they
was
said.
the-
That was
Oh,
their
okay.
contingency was
was
instead
the
of going to
backup.
Queens, they were going to go to San Francisco and
The Batman because
pick up Ant-Man for
they were going to switch sides.
switch sides.
Ah.
Switch them sides. He was
Interesting.
Gonna, he was
I
going to
didn't
be
know
on
that.
Iron Man side.
Yeah. So they had all these contingency plans, but I couldn't imagine writing a movie in that way, shape, or form where you're like, okay, if this works, then and this can be
This
the
is
script.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, okay, if this doesn't work, then we have to switch to this.
Plan B.
Yeah.
You need to have like
Fake
Plan
script,
B,
too.
C, and
Well, and then Infinity War,
Well,
they
yeah,
wrote like
Infinity
6
War.
or 7
Fake-
Yeah.
fake scripts.
It's like those choose your own adventure novels.
Well, I think that's how they piece them
are you
together.
able to do this?
what's your actor name again? Okay, so you get this page. what's your
Well,
name?
that's why I laughed because Chris Evans did an interview and he's like, yeah, they let me take the script home, and I'm like, bull, because
Bull.
they made the rest of them who wanted to read it sit in like a
You're
dark
Tom-
room with
yeah.
an iPad.
You're Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Here's your script. You didn't give me anything.
Why is it on a post-it note that
Didn't
just
give me-
says no?
You didn't give me anything. You didn't give me anything. Oh, hold on.
Hold
Takes a
on.
post-it note, draws a little Spider-Man logo. Here you go.
You're gonna be Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like
Well-
you said, Benedict Cumberbatch was.
He was one of the
Cumberbatch
only
got-
ones.
He was in a room.
So, yeah, they put Benedict Cumberbatch in a room without windows. They took his phone and everything away. They gave him an iPad that was like locked to the desk. And as soon as he left, he was not allowed back in the room.
Yeah.
So they're like, you stay in this room, you finish that script, and then you're done.
Yeah.
So you can read it
I wonder how
5
much-
times if you want.
So
But
I wonder how much of that script he read on top of the next script.
All
And
of
that's
it.
yes.
That's a good question because
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
a good question.
no. Obviously, watching that film was seeing where that character goes. Like he must have some knowledge of what the
he
next.
does because
film
that's why he
is.
has to read it, because his script that he got goes. You know, he got that line where he goes, "Well, I've seen the 4
Right.
billion,
and then,
600,
and then,
you know,
and then it's like
600,000."
this is the only way, and blah, blah,
So
blah,
he
blah, blah.
wants to, for his character motivation, you know, he's not stopping Star-Lord. You know, he's not.
He's not stopping.
He's not doing.
He's going
this,
to give
he's
up the
not
gem
doing-
easily.
You know,
right?
he's giving this up. You know, so he has to have that motivation as, I think, an actor to be able to go like, if
I need to know what happens after this movie.
if
as
I'm
well.
doing this, I need to know the outcome of this because.
the outcome as well as like
Yeah.
why I'm doing it for the next film.
Right.
for the
Now,
next
as for
few
Tom
films.
Holland, you should tell him absolutely nothing. I think honestly,
Here's
he
your
should,
1-9.
No. They should film him in front of a green screen. So he's not involved in any of the actual scenes, so he can't give anything away. Even before the bloody movie came out, they were on Jimmy Kimmel, and he's like, yeah, they had fake scripts, and he's like, I got one, and it says, like, he's like, I get a script, and it says Spider-Man goes to space, and he's like, I thought that was fake, but it turns out to be true, and Robert just looks at him going like,
Dude!
the movie's not out for, like, he's giving him this look like the movie's not out for,
hours.
like, 3 days for normal people, like, shut up. Like, they all, like, there was 5 of them on that couch, including Tom Holland, and, like, the other 4 of them look at him like, come on!
I think Mark did that too on another interview where it's like, oh yeah, and everyone dies.
Yeah, he's going some people might not make
And I
it.
think that was with like that might have been with
That was Don, no, that was with Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Don's just looking at him
Don's
going,
really good with that. Don Cheadle's really good
Yeah.
with that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
but you're just
Mark
sitting
and
there
Tom are the ones that are like,
Mark,
guys.
Tom, and Sebastian Stan are all 3 of those are.
Oh.
but you're just sitting there going like, come on. But yeah, the fact that Chris Evans did an interview and he's like, yeah, they let me take the script home, and I'm like, that wasn't a real script, Chris. That's if they let you leave with it, that wasn't a real script. So
If it was sent to you on your Gmail, not a real script.
from Russo Brothers, hey, real script for Sherzies.
For realsies,
For realsies
for
with
realsies
the
number
Zs.
1.
Yeah,
for realsies
XXX.
number 2.
Yeah.
Why do I say number 2? No reason.
No reason.
Send the 3rd one to the.
Again, Tom Holland just gets an empty email.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in these movies much longer, kid.
Yeah.
We can replace you. There is another Spider-Man.
Spider-Man dies.
Yeah.
The skip Spider-Man guys.
Again?
Cool.
Either way, yeah, Star Wars movies are on hold after.
I can see that.
And I feel like it's really just to make sure
They get everyone on the same
their
page.
ducks are in their ducks are in a row. Because the reason Solo failed so hard, if they would have just hired Ron Howard, it would have profited and they would be done.
Yeah, because as a movie in and of itself, it's perfectly
It was a good
fine.
movie.
It was perfectly fine.
Well, some people are saying it's Star Wars fatigue.
Oh,
We're getting too much.
We're getting
It's-
too
it's
many
really-
Star
it's not.
Wars.
Well, I think we're not. I think they're
If I think it would maybe
they're kind of putting all the Star Wars like they do with the Marvel movies, where you get like 1 or 2
every
a
few
year.
months.
So
That would be
but
fatigue for me. But 1 a year, I don't mind. I think the biggest
I think
problem
the
with
problem though was the fact that
I can-
Last Jedi came out or
and they didn't. They should do Christmas
they
releases for Star
Solo
Wars.
too
yeah.
close together.
Yeah.
And honestly,
That's
part
part
of
could
it.
be true.
and honestly,
yeah.
going behind Infinity War and Deadpool,
Yeah.
that
Also
didn't-
doesn't
that-
help.
that
And their
didn't help.
marketing sucked. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say, that guy did not feel like Han Solo in any of those trailers.
He didn't do much talking.
And they didn't let him. Like I said, what sold me was that extended scene where him and Chewie are in the cockpit and he finds out how old Chewie is because Chewie activates, whatever he activates and goes like, yeah, how old are you? Da-da-da. And that's like, that actually feels like Han Solo and Chewie talking. Not the, how old are you? Like, that's the only line you get out of that entire thing. I'm like, that doesn't feel like Solo. The marketing team really screwed up.
Yeah, that movie was poorly executing for the marketing.
Yes.
And everyone was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go for Lando." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not the problem.
Lando was perfect.
He's good.
Lando nailed it.
Do not get me wrong. Like, Donald Glover's amazing in everything he does, but
maybe Willy Wonka. As I said last week, he's on the short list.
That's not
for another Willy Wonka movie.
That's not.
I want to. The only reason I want that movie to happen is because I want Donald Glover to be Willy Wonka. Because in my mind,
oh god, that would be so weird. That would be so kooky.
Like a mix of Lando and...
Have you seen his music video?
Yes.
Yeah, that music video is messed up.
But a mix of like Lando and Troy is Willy Wonka. Like suave yet childish all at the same time. Yeah. If he can mix those two, which he can.
Yeah, he's talented.
He's talented.
He's talented.
I want to see his Willy Wonka. The movie's gonna suck because again,
we don't want it.
I don't
want it.
If I get one more Willy Wonka movie, they better nail it. Like they have to at this point, or there's no point.
I just have no interest in it.
But if Donald Glover were Willy Wonka, I'd see that just for him, because I want to see that. But either way, Donald Glover worth seeing the movie for. Chewie worth seeing the movie for. The rest of the movie worth seeing the movie for. And Han just kind of grows. The guy who plays Han kind of just grows.
I didn't mind him.
I didn't mind him.
I really liked him.
He's still not Han to me.
But he's like 17. He's
and that's not...
I think the age is a huge deal.
His forehead's too big and this and that and everything else. Junk. But
there's only so
I just watched Empire Strikes Back again and I'm going, this is Han Solo versus...
And I think you're looking at it through like a really...
And I am. Han Solo was my guy when I was younger. Like, people wanted to be Jedis. I wanted to be Han Solo. Like, people want to run around with lightsabers. I had Han Solo's, like, blaster rifle. That was my shtick as a kid. So, as that big a fan going to see this movie, I was worried about him. And 10 minutes in, I forgot.
Yeah.
You get lost in the movie.
You get lost in the rest of the film. Could they have cast him better? Could they have done more work with him? Yes.
I think they cast right. They could have spent a little more time.
I think they could have spent more time working with him to make sure he...
And actually having Harrison Ford work with him a little bit more.
He did, didn't he?
A little bit. He did. And that was after... But that was after Ron Howard came on. After Ron Howard came on, they hired, like, a speech guy. And they hired... they started hiring people to help him... Because there's certain parts of that movie where he's standing and you're like, he's flipping Harrison.
He's got his hands on his belt.
That is flipping Harrison Ford. Even the way like his legs are, like everything, his stance, everything. You're like, that's Harrison Ford from behind. Like, you put an indie hat on him or the vest instead of the coat. Like, nailed it.
Yeah.
Even some of the times when he talks, it does. It feels like Han talking to Chewie, and you're like, yes. That was Ron Howard making sure that money got spent to make sure that he was Han Solo. So that's what I mean. I loved that movie. I thought it was
I really like Ron Howard as a director, like working on that as much as he did.
Yeah.
Like making it into a...
I was worried. I was kind of worried with Ron Howard.
I like comedy. I'm okay with it being a light comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the buddy cop movie that was potentially coming out of those other two, like I did not.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what hit the cutting floor and what...
I would love to see whatever that movie was just for the sake of...
posterity.
Comparison.
Yeah. Well, going like, what did you guys do? You filmed an entire movie and got fired. What did you film?
What did you film?
You must have royally messed up.
You really had to have screwed up to get that far along and for Kathleen Kennedy to go, what?
What are you guys doing? Why is
Chewie
dead?
Yeah, Chewie actually dies in that commercial scene.
Bam!
Why is he dead?
So I think that's part of it is making sure, like, Kathleen Kennedy's probably setting down some rules, like, I have to see cuts every so many days. I have to see, like, if you're changing parts of the script, I have to see this, making sure this, and this are done.
Or just even having, like, a little, like... a board of like these are the characters. This is what they will do. Yeah. This is what they'll never do. This is what they won't know. Like they know these people and these like this is what's how those crazy people
But again, and you know that Kevin Feige on the Marvel front
He's done that.
Is one, they have a board, and two, he's doing that pop in going like,
what's up, guys?
What's the okay, good.
He might have
Close
not done that enough with Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
He might not have done that enough.
He walks in, Taika's just like
he's scared him off.
you hear like there's like sensors in the hallway, and Taika's just like flipping all the whiteboards around, like, yeah, boring Thor movie.
Kevin Feige walks into set, it's Taika with like two Hulk hands, like, yeah, we're filming Thor. We're filming Thor. What's up?
But again, it's not like Thor felt out of place.
No, it didn't. Upon watching it again, it makes a lot more sense.
And stuff still fits, and then especially coming into Infinity War, all of a sudden, bam, all that
I
stuff
will
happens.
yeah.
You're going like,
the one thing I really appreciate
connects.
about Thor was that it was a shorter film. Like, I feel
It was
in
the
this-
shortest.
in the age of these long superhero movies, long Star Wars movies,
Yeah.
having a nice shorter movie but a much more condensed film
Yeah.
was made it a lot easier to watch.
but again, they don't need all these subplots and this and
But
that
no,
and everything.
and
They're
no.
just like, here is an adventure Thor goes on.
It's a road trip.
Yeah.
As advertised, it is
Yeah.
a galactic road trip as they advertised when
Yeah.
they were saying it's a Thor Ragnarok film.
Yeah. So that's I feel like we're gonna get news of the Star Wars movies being back on track in like another 2 weeks.
Mhm.
This is just them.
I give it a year.
A month.
Honestly, I give it a year just because wait for this whole Comcast and Fox
End of
deal
the
to settle
summer.
down. Because think about it, when Disney gets the Fox again, they'll have the rights to all Star Wars,
That's just the original release cuts of stuff. So
Right,
that's
so-
just releasing extra DVDs.
extra
and stuff.
DVDs, or having them remastered or in the theatrical releases in the theater.
And they could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
I would tend to.
I think
watch
they
that.
still want to keep up the one Star Wars movie a year shtick, which means they've got to get moving on the next ones, like the next Star Wars stories.
I think
End of the summer.
because they're filming 9 right now, right?
Yes, 9
Yes.
is currently in
Yes.
production.
Almost
no.
done.
No, still in production.
No, still in production.
If anything, it's probably close to end, and then they're gonna have a gap, and then pickups afterwards,
Mhm.
and
So
then
that's-
reshoots.
So that's my thing. Is like by the time 9's probably done, finished filming, they'll have sorted all of this
That's
stuff
what I'm
out,
thinking.
and then so at least we still get a Star Wars movie a year, and maybe they make sure there's that year gap.
Because
Star
9
Wars just becomes a
9
Christmas
is
movie.
still coming out 2019, right?
Yeah, next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. It was next year. You're going like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And again, I think they have to really concentrate on what characters, if any characters, they're doing these Star Wars stories, movies.
Old Republic.
Right. Like, do we now? Is the
something
question: do we really need a Boba Fett movie?
No.
Yeah.
No.
In the grand
Do
scheme
we
of
need
things,
an
no.
Obi-Wan movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Depends on how they frame it.
I would really love to see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again, but if the movie adds nothing to the universe, do I really need it?
Mhm.
Knights of the Old Republic.
That would be
Go in
excellent.
that direction.
Like-
Go in Rian Johnson's like new
Like-
trilogy kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Or Knights of the New Republic.
Sure.
Ooh.
Something far into the future.
Pod racing. Star Wars story. A Star Wars story. Pod racing.
I'd
64.
I'd still
The-
Pod Racing 64. And then the sequel, the arcade.
The early stories of pod racers and how it all got started. Hello.
Hello.
Fallout 4 engine. I'm assuming that's
FO engine. FO4 engine.
Yeah, Fallout.
Full,
Faux 4.
Cool. Moving on. So
Moving
Star
on,
Wars,
I guess, yes.
Yes. Pokemon. There is this past week and a half and 2 have been
Pancake chill.
kind of all over the place if you play a lot of Pokemon Go. So the first and obvious thing that has happened, the friends list and trading
yeah.
has officially dropped in Pokemon Go.
I have friends in.
You
I
can-
have real friends.
I can now friend you guys in real life, so it's now it's good.
It's
We're all
official.
good now.
Official guys.
We're official Pokemon Go friends, except for you two apparently.
No,
We're
they
good
are
now.
Oh,
friends.
they are
We're
now.
good.
They are
We
now.
did
All right.
He gave me a gift.
Yeah.
So
Do you have to get checked out or like?
you should probably go to the doctor before you open that gift.
Nah, don't worry, it's safe.
So the big piece is that with the friends list, they've also included gifts where you can actually spin them out of stops and gyms. You can't open those gifts personally. You have to send them out to your friends
Pick
list.
and choose one. This isn't
What's
good
in this
enough.
one? Ooh.
This isn't good enough.
This one, I
can't
don't
wait.
like this friend. Here, you can have that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And so usually they come with some better items that you can spin out of stops. So Ultra Balls, Max Potions. You can also get the new 7-kilometer eggs, which hatches
Oh.
into exclusively a Alolan Pokemon.
Oh, cool.
But
So-
you can't have eggs.
But
you have to have an empty spot in your egg.
An empty sack. Empty spot.
From what I
So if you
understand.
open a gift, you won't. Even if it had an egg in it, you won't get it. It won't.
Well, you
Yeah.
get 3 gifts from every, like 3 individual things. But if you only get 2, that means you would have had
there's
an
a good
egg.
chance that
It was an egg, and you just don't have room to have it.
And so
I got
right now,
an egg from you.
Yeah, I tried.
so right now you only get
See what
the
happens
only
when I
ones you
give
can
you
get
gifts.
are Alolan Vulpix, Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Grimer, and Alolan
Rattata.
Nope.
Right.
Meowth from the
Oh.
eggs.
Oh,
from the
okay.
eggs.
Yep.
Alolan
right.
Rattata has made an appearance in the wild. You can actually just go and catch him.
Is
Oh.
Executor back?
Executor is back. I'm told that he is back. You can find him in the wild. He's much more rare. Like
I already have
a
one.
couple weeks back.
Me
I need
too.
to actually catch one because I have a research request that asks me to catch a dragon type.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to actually go and find one. So that's the big thing. Trading is now in as well. You can trade within your friends group. You need to be within 100 meters
Yeah,
of each other, just like real life. Just like the original games where you needed the cable. You need to see each
That's
other.
not a 100-meter cable.
That's 100 meters. You didn't.
It
Wait,
was if you extended it over
didn't-
and over and over.
You didn't have one?
I hated how close you had to be as a kid.
Really?
That link, it,
like this long.
This long.
well, and for every game,
Yeah.
like it wasn't even just
And
Pokemon.
multiplayer.
You're playing Tetris, and you're like,
Mortal,
next-
Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
or any fighting game,
Yeah.
basically.
And then they had the wireless
Snap.
one where you still had to be really
Oops.
close with the.
It's
The
an
IR
IR
sensor.
Yes,
oh, that was
yes.
the worst.
those are the worst ones. You're like on the table,
soon
and it's
as
like
you-
link them up, and you're like they're like
Like,
And then you link
there.
them up, and then the table moves.
Yeah.
and
You're
then
like,
it loses
you lost a
connection.
link.
Make
You
sure
lost the
they're
Pokemon in
just
the middle of the
touching.
trade.
It's like, no!
So yeah, you need to be within 100 meters of each other.
Just floating out things.
And I really do appreciate Niantic for balancing trading, because when everyone was talking about it, it was like, oh, how does bots and spoofers, how are they going to abuse the system? Well, it is actually Stardust locked. So
Yeah.
you need to actually use some of your Stardust to make trades, and depending on what the trade is, it will cost more
And
or
your
less
friendship
Stardust.
for someone.
And the friendship levels,
So
because
the longer you've been friends with someone,
the longer you're friends with someone,
the cheaper the Stardust.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's 4 levels of friendship. You've got your normal friend, and then good friend, ultra friend, and then best friend.
Yes.
And to get to the best friend status, you need to be friends with each other for 90 days.
Yeah.
While doing stuff with them every day. So
Every day, yeah.
sending a gift, making
Oh.
trades, doing raid battles with each other.
Yeah,
it
that's-
actually keeps track of if you're
That's
in a raid battle
crazy.
with each other, so that if you say all 4 of us were in a raid battle and we're all on each
never.
other's friends list, we can do that. You actually get a massive damage bonus as well. You actually do more
Summer's
damage.
coming.
For you and me.
We'll just pick him up from work one day.
Man.
I don't know how he's joining us.
Come to the university. There's a lot
we
of
pick
Pokemon.
him up to go to the
Go to
university.
take the LRT to the. All right, look at that.
The alert.
The alert.
Alert.
So yes, trading happens that way. On top of that, when you trade a Pokemon between each other, the actual stats change. So, for example, if a lot of the spoofers, they have the 100% IV Pokemon, these like
Yeah.
perfectly well trained Pokemon. The minute they trade it, they
go
are
away.
no longer
They're no longer-
that stat anymore, and it rebalances the stat based off of the player receiving its level, as well as your friendship level. So the higher your friendship level, the closer it is to the original
What the
stats
CP.
that you're gonna give it.
Yeah.
So that in that way, basically, it blocks out all spoofers from training everything to their main account and then going, good, look at my perfect account.
Yeah.
Well, basically, I love that. I freaking love that.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do trading.
Well, and you can only do one legendary trade a day or whatever.
Special
Right. So,
trade.
Special trade.
so there's 2 types of trades. There's regular trades. So if I were to trade you a Pidgey for a Squirtle, that's considered a regular trade because A, we both have them,
Yeah.
and B, it's not a legendary or a shiny Pokemon.
Yeah.
A special trade includes Pokemon. If either of us don't have that Pokemon in our decks,
Yep.
or it's a legendary, or it's a shiny Pokemon, you can only do that once a day.
Yeah.
And those cost a little bit more Stardust.
Sure.
1,000?
So, for example, you had traded me a Alolan Rattata for, I think, a Tangela. And because I didn't have that the Rattata in my decks, it cost 20,000 Stardust. If it was a legendary Pokemon, it would have cost 1 million Stardust.
And I don't have that.
I don't
But the
know.
thing is, like, that million Stardust can get reduced over time, right?
The
Because
longer
the
your
friendship-
friends.
The longer your friend, the cheaper the Stardust cost gets.
will be.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool. That's
and
cool.
and on top of that, with shinies, like shinies are amazing. Obviously, we all love shiny Pokemon. And that is classified with the legendary Pokemon trait as well. So yeah, trading is out. It's the first couple days were really rough.
They did do a nice slow burn to it though, like you have to be level 40 to join it first.
I feel like it should have been a little bit longer.
I think so too.
Yeah,
like, I was surprised.
They might have felt like confident in keeping up.
Because as soon as I got access, I was like, cool. And on top of that, it's like none of my friends are level 37.
Yeah.
So I can't really do
We're all in
anything
the
with them.
20s?
Yeah.
25.
And so
19.
and even when I was trading with some of the friends that I already had, we kept getting errors with our friends list.
Yeah, I still get errors.
So I think they've balanced it out a little bit now, but they should have. It should have been a little bit slower overall.
There's a ghost there.
There's a
There's a haunter.
He needs ghosts.
I just want a hunter.
Me too. As we all take a break.
I don't need to catch a haunter. I'll keep talking. So that's how training works. On top of that, it calculates the distance from where the Pokemon was caught to the other Pokemon you're trading.
Oh.
And so, remember way back when Pokemon Go first launched, it actually gave you a GPS map of where the Pokemon was caught.
Yeah.
That data still exists on the Pokemon. They just don't show it to you.
Which kind of makes sense.
It makes sense because it's a server load issue. But when, say for example, if I traded you a Pokemon that I caught in Portland, Oregon, to a Pokemon that you caught in Edmonton here, it would calculate that distance and then
you that much.
No, it doesn't. It's not the Stardust. You actually get more candies based
Oh.
off that trade. So for example, if I traded you that Pokemon, and I think it's the cap is 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
At 100 kilometers, you get 3 candies for that Pokemon. Space.
A building.
Space.
Canada, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, eh?
So yeah, that's the whole appeal of trading the Pokemon. You can get actual bonus candies based on how far it is. On top of that, Pokemon, once it's been traded, you can't trade it again.
That Pokemon's stuck in your...
Yeah, that Pokemon is stuck to you. So that
release them.
you can transfer them if you want.
Yeah.
You can transfer them if you want, but you can't
Grind
trade
them
it
up
to
and
someone
make
else.
candy.
So for example,
the tail again.
Raticate that you traded me, I can't trade it to Amira or you
Or
guys
some...
or
Yeah,
someone
you
else.
can't... It can't change
It's locked
trade.
to my account.
I feel like they'll slowly take that one away.
It really depends. I like that it does still at least give you the original trainer.
Yep.
So that's really cool, especially for someone like me who does a lot of traveling to specific Pokemon events.
Yeah.
Where ow, that was my foot.
She doesn't care.
You are something special, dog. Yeah, that's training in a nutshell. I love it. I freaking love it. It's
I
amazing.
think they did a good job with that.
on
I
top
think
of-
the whole friendship thing too is a nice.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
friends list was a really good surprise because we always honestly just thought trading was coming.
Yeah.
No one expected the friends list as well as gifting.
Yeah, I like this gifting.
The
thing,
gifting
too.
idea is really good, especially for rural players or people who don't have
Well,
Pokestops nearby.
Yeah.
Like you opened a box for me, and
I got
you
10 regular Pokeballs, and
I
I'm
think
like,
it was-
thanks, Tony!
I think it was
Like,
like 15. Or something.
I forgot what, but yeah, I'm like,
'Cause
thank you, because I needed Pokeballs.
Right,
Because
yeah.
I don't go out that often to actually
Get to Pokestops.
get to Pokestops. Like, around my work, there's not much.
You got like two, like one there, and that's
And then in my house, like, I have a walk that I can do that takes I get about 5
yeah.
for a moderate walk. But I mean, it gets hot out, or I have a long day. I'm not
You don't want to...
taking that walk just to get them, and it's not like I drive by any
Right.
that
So
I can
it's
really
just
stop and spin.
so you can rely on people like myself.
Yeah, all of a
who-
sudden I'm getting,
give
all of
you
a sudden
a
I'm
gift.
like, oh, I got Pokeballs, because
Stupid.
I can't hit the hunter.
I'm not moving. It's right there.
They're having issues with the Haunter.
No,
They're having
I can't
separate.
see it.
They're having separate issues
Friends.
with the Haunter.
I can't see it.
the one guy who needs ghost Pokemon.
I can't see it.
I can't trade you ghost Pokemon.
Would that count?
No, it says catch 10 ghost.
Oh, what an excellent throw!
The problem with I find with the gifts, the problem I find with gifts is people who have a long friends list like I do now.
Oh.
And I'm getting gifts left, right, and center. Now my bag is
It's
way too
way
full.
packed.
Way too full.
I always found that anyways, like, again, I got potions from someone, and I'm like,
Over here. Am I drifting?
you don't need to drift. They're literally right there.
I'm not moving.
No, he's not.
Oh, yeah, you're not moving.
Recalibrate your GPS.
No, it's not. Don't. That's not.
Just go into the bathroom for 2 seconds. It usually blocks the signal pretty good. Either way.
Either way,
moving.
Pokemon Friends
I'm
and
moving.
trading is in. They've also provided some additional details of what's happening with GoFest. This
Batman Go.
Batman Go.
Batman Go.
Batman Go. Gotta catch. I'm gonna be the very best catching criminals. Yeah, that's a good.
That was a good
short.
one, yeah.
That was a good short.
That was a good one. Good
They've
one.
also announced details about the Pokemon Go Fest coming out, as well as the summer of Pokemon is how they're touting it, and so
It's a good thing to have if you really think about it.
it's a really good thing to have. On top of
Drift in the wrong way.
go through the wall.
I'm gonna walk over there.
So what's happening is there's going to be 3 separate weekends where this is going to take place, and it's going to be all revolving around the new research rewards or research quests that launched a couple weeks back.
Yep.
Basically, if everyone in each region unlocks or completes X amount of research requests for that region, they're going to unlock a special bonus for the next week. And so, for example, in I think it's like the North America region, I think it's like next weekend, where we need to complete 500,000 research requests in total for the entire weekend, which is totally doable. It's totally doable.
Again, starting in the sun, starting next weekend, school's out.
School's out.
School is
So
out.
you get those people doing it. And on top of that, they're going to be releasing more Alolan Pokemon. I think Alolan Geodude is coming out next.
Okay.
And you can actually catch him in the wild. My understanding is you can catch him in the wild, which is great because he's a rock electric type. He doesn't provide anything to the meta, but he looks fantastic.
It looks great.
He looks fantastic.
Don't look at me. I'm level 19.
Oh no,
in
I'm
Pokemon.
just
You're going to be so mad if I turn mine on and I get it.
Earthquake test.
Earthquake test. So each week, and there's going to be that event happening because next weekend is the Dormand the Safari Zone event. I think that's in like Europe somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And then a couple weeks later will be the actual Go Fest in Chicago. Same thing happens there. We have to catch X amount, or not catch, complete X amount of research rewards. And if we do all 3 weekends of this, there's going to be one giant unlock.
Where's the Batman love?
I'm Batman.
I like
I like
I like
Batman.
Batman.
I'm a Batman.
Best DC character.
Yes.
My
Flash.
opinion.
Flash.
Flash is pretty good.
Flash is the
Flash
best.
is pretty good.
I don't know.
So if we're able to complete all the research rewards during that sequence, during those 3, they said they're gonna have one ultra unlock, which I would bet my bottom dollar that it's gonna be Celebi as a mythical quest, another mythical quest.
So I'm gonna lose out on Mew.
No, you can actually still do Mew. It just will add up.
At
on
this
the
rate,
bottom.
I don't think I'm gonna get there.
Hey.
He look a hunter.
Look a hunter.
Try
I went into the bathroom and it didn't
No,
work.
try quitting the game and opening it again.
Restart the game. Restart the game.
again.
You went the other direction when you went to the
Yeah, you
washroom.
went the wrong way.
You're doing it wrong. So that's the massive Pokemon Go updates this week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Everyone in the community is incredibly excited. As well, go out and catch Regice. He is now available as a Tier 5 raid boss.
Squirtle weekend is coming.
Squirtle weekend is also coming.
That is the biggest news.
Are you available for
everyone
that?
should be. I don't know. What day is it?
Tomorrow.
No.
Not tomorrow.
No, it's in 2 weeks.
Like on a Saturday?
It's Sunday.
Sunday.
On Sunday?
Yeah, I messaged you guys. It was we can definitely do this if Nick wants to.
Like on the 8th?
Yes.
Is it the 8th?
Yes.
That's 2 weeks from now.
Hold on, let me run away from this haunter and not catch it.
Don't be like that.
If it's the 8th, yeah, I should be.
hold
I make
on.
no promises at this very point in time.
No,
I
of
have
course
to
not.
check the schedules of my,
A significant other.
significant other.
July 8th.
Eh,
July
I should
8th.
be okay for a Sunday.
So July 8th is Squirtle's Community Day. It was the worst kept secret.
Well, but in all honesty, they
Let's be
started
honest.
Bulbasaur and
Yes.
went to Charmander. Like, come on now.
Charmander, yes.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they already had the dates announced of when these communities were going to fall. They just
it?
didn't announce the Pokemon.
No.
Start the game again.
So
I would laugh so hard if all of a sudden he popped up again.
The second Haunter in the
Yeah.
same spot.
Oh, second haunter would be great because that would knock me down to 1.
No, it would replace the current spot.
He's now my 5th strongest Pokemon, or my 7th strongest Pokemon.
I turned off the Wi-Fi so I can wander a little bit better. Your Wi-Fi makes it too accurate.
Not on my phone.
No, see, I'm on the other side of the street.
He's definitely on the other side of the street.
But you're on the right side of the street
No.
in terms of.
No, we should.
Oh,
be
no,
here.
you're-
I
yeah.
should be there.
All right.
Yeah, he's kooky. If you need to step out there for a second.
I already did.
No,
like actually out.
Be play this game how it's meant to be played.
Ooh, shiny Tyranitar?
Yeah, that was
I
Shiny
wish.
Tyranitar.
I caught so many, I didn't even get one.
Wait, really?
Either way,
Yeah.
Pokemon Go,
Pokemon
big
Go,
updates.
Yes.
Pokemon Go, exciting stuff happening in the next couple weeks.
And now
Next.
back to more Disney news.
Disney news.
Disney-ish.
ABC has confirmed that Roseanne, the spin-off, is officially happening. So it's going to be the Connors. So it's based off of Roseanne's kid, her eldest kid, Darlene. So in the reboot, she had moved back in with her parents because she had fallen on some harder times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of how the premise of the new Roseanne show started, was she came home to... she kept telling everybody to take care of her parents because they're getting old and so forth and so on.
Right.
And yada, yada, yada. But really, she came home because life was getting tough. She had lost her job.
Yeah.
So now the spin-off, because Roseanne obviously got fired for
Reasons.
racist tweets.
We're not gonna,
So ABC's like, well, this was our best show going forward. We would like to keep all these people to actually have their jobs.
and that's the thing, like you don't
Except
want
for her.
Except
Well, except
Roseanne.
for
So
Roseanne.
they've actually made Roseanne sign something because she technically is one of the original creators of the show, and they can't take those characters without her. They've made her sign over that she will not make a dime off this, and her name will not be associated with it.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has now separated herself from that show. So I don't know how they're gonna
Spin that.
spin this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like someone said, they're like, just start the show with them in the hospital, and
Or just restart again.
She's dead.
Let's do another do-over.
Yeah.
Let's do-over.
Well, in all
One
honesty,
character died.
and that was the other thing. They're like, what if it wasn't John Goodman that died all those years
Years
ago,
ago.
and it was
It was
actually
actually
Roseanne?
Yes, just restart again. Restart
So,
the restart.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. I was interested in Roseanne coming back in the first place because I'm like, I'm interested.
Never got into them.
Never.
We
did
used to
either.
watch Roseanne
Used to watch, yeah.
all the time. So when it came back, I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued to see how they pull this off. And they legitimately didn't change a bloody thing about that house. Like,
It's exactly
it's
the same.
exactly,
Probably
the
kept
set
it.
was exactly the same.
They just
like,
had to dust off the old set.
and a lot of times they're pretty good at taking notes and doing that kind of stuff, so redecorating the sets is fairly easy, but like the couch hasn't changed. And time has passed. It's not like they were like, oh, the next day. It's legitimately like people have moved on, got jobs, etc., etc. Things have happened.
And the couch just still the same.
And then like the house, like they haven't done anything, and then of course you find out that, well, times are hard where they're from, etc., all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay. So it'll be interesting to see how they reboot the reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the John Goodman stuff, they just wrote it as, oh, that last episode where it was all a book didn't actually
happen.
So
I really like John Goodman.
and I love John Goodman, so if he can actually help carry a show
Yeah.
in like a bigger capacity, because I mean, again, his character on Roseanne is essentially like
You're having trouble, aren't you?
he gets up, says a line, and then goes and has a beer.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he.
That direction. You're.
It's gone now.
No,
Hey, Sisu.
it might be gone.
Hi,
'cause it's not
Sisu.
on my radar.
Because you caught it.
No, I ran away from it.
Then it would not.
Everybody touch the phone.
Can I restart it over here? Not the phone.
Okay,
I mean the
so-
game.
So either way, Roseanne is
Roseanne's-
getting a spin-off. It is the Connors, so all those people still have their jobs except
Double
Roseanne.
click.
That's what I was more
Swipe.
worried about than anything. That all these people would have lost their jobs because.
Well, and that
of
was the
one
big thing
person.
because the show got picked back up. So all these people, like makeup artists and lighting people,
Not just the actors either. Like,
because the actors, I don't,
Actors
at least
like
two of the
that.
four say hi.
Hi, I'm
Say hi.
distracted.
He's
Say
distracted.
hi.
He's trying to catch a haunter. It's a very big deal right now.
4 out of the
For
3
me.
people did
So
not.
yeah, all the
were able to
because John
catch.
Goodman doesn't need that job.
John Goodman is John Goodman.
John Goodman's John
Like I
Goodman,
said,
but the guy who does
see.
the lighting
This doesn't
needs that job, and
iPhone.
he was
It's
pretty
an
much
iPhone.
told he had a job.
Right.
So all the big jobs are gone. So like that guy, Steve who does lighting, all of a sudden now at least has his job back, which is good. Like that
Yeah,
was my
that's what
bigger
I
thing
think.
was like
A lot of people lost their jobs because of one person.
one person
One
making
person's
a really,
stupidity.
and that's how they convinced her, I think, to sign that piece of paper was
Make
you've
her
ruined a
feel
lot
guilty.
of lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you really feel bad about it, like you keep saying you do, sign this paper and we're done.
Yeah.
And the show will continue.
And you
Yeah.
will no longer
You will
be
not be-
associated with this show in any way, shape, or form, yada yada yada, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's not gonna be in the credits or anything, man.
No, so there's no created by credit. There's nothing.
Probably a quick mention first episode. And
I'm assuming first episode it'll be, and I'm wondering if they'll even use her name.
Mom.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I'm assuming there'll be a lot
wonder
of
how-
like, I can't believe mom is gone. I can't believe, you
I can't
know,
believe my sister has.
I can't.
But
yeah.
anyways,
So we'll see, and that's the thing now. It's like you've given me more intrigue to watch the show again.
Maybe that was the plan the entire time.
Have Roseanne's. Well, they knew she was gonna crack at some point.
It's crazy.
crazy lady.
She's been doing that stuff for a long
Long
time.
time.
You just figured when she got her show back, she'd, you know, tone it down.
Yeah.
Guess not.
No publicity is bad publicity.
And I
Bad
do love.
publicity is also bad.
I do love the
publicity.
people online that were
Yeah,
just
so
sitting
then
there,
you
and
got
it's like,
people talking about
how
the
could she
show.
get fired for her own personal views? And it's like, as soon as you put them online, they're no longer really a personal view.
And on top of that, you are kind of a celebrity. You have a
You
bigger-
have a
you
lot of
little bit
influence.
more.
But if I go outside to a public place and start shouting something bad, I can now be judged,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the things I say can affect my life.
Right. And then
I have the right to say them,
right. And the thing is,
We
that
have
you-
free speech,
But there will be
but
consequences.
it doesn't mean there will not be consequences
think,
for my
think,
actions.
like think about this. Like, what? Canadian white guy goes on corner, yells racist
Yes.
stuff. Not really a news headline. Roseanne tweets racist
Yes.
stuff. Big headline.
Yeah.
But at the
Big
same
difference.
time,
Big difference.
nobody white woman has racist rant in Denny's gets fired from job. Like it doesn't actually. You don't have to be that important as long
No,
as someone's
that's true.
filming you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like if the right person tweets out like crazy man on corner goes on crazy racist rant, you know, there goes my
There
job.
goes your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yes, I believe what you want to believe, but you have to understand that if you share that kind of stuff, yeah.
In
You're
public.
good.
We're,
Again,
especially in this day and age.
Sure.
In this day and age, yes.
And
a
again, like you
big
say,
thing.
celebrity. It's not like Roseanne has 3 followers on Twitter and
Yeah.
is like, "Oh, I can't believe this,"
Blah,
and you're
blah, blah.
going like,
You've got so much more scrutiny
"Totally."
over your eyes.
But even who was it? Jay Leno. Same thing. He's like, I'd go to Hollywood parties and show up, and people were doing drugs and he'd nope out because he's like, we have a responsibility as people who are watched.
we're role models in some way,
We
shape, or
have to
form.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
Earthquake.
what we found this week. Let us know in the comments or say us, yell at us in the live chat. Anything else to add, gentlemen?
I'm disliking Pokemon Go right now.
I think that Haunter's gone too.
I think it's gone.
I'm gonna go after we're done and go for a walk.
We can do that.
Chris will go for this hunter hunt.
He's gonna haunt a hunter. He's
Yeah.
gonna haunt a
I'm gonna
haunter.
go stalk a haunter.
That's really creepy.
That's really creepy.
Ow! It's a ghost.
But is it though?
Yes.
Is it really though?
It's just ghost type.
Okay. That's it for us here today.
Join us for the post-credit show right
We'll talk-
after this.
We'll talk about games and movies and other sort of nerdy
things we've
nerdy
done.
geeks things that we've accomplished.
Yes.
Or tried to accomplish.
Over the week.
Yes.
We'll see you guys soon.
Join us in 5.
Bye.